Yeah, that's why I haven't really come out and like openly talked about it. But yeah, it was like I saw someone for PTSD this year. So
You did?
yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a hard year for journalists. It has been such a tiring month, physically and mentally, that I literally forgot it was Mental Health Awareness Month. I know one of the last things you want to hear is how beat down and wore out journalists have been over this past year. The death and the destruction and the coronavirus and just bathing in the data every day, it's just extremely tiring. I really got to thinking about this topic recently when I was invited to be on a podcast called Holding Ground here in Seattle.
Everybody is going to have some sort of, or trauma.
It's hosted by Laura Richer. She's a licensed mental health counselor and associate. Journalists in my industry that are suffering severe burnout, physically and mentally. I just don't know how to help them.
Yeah.
I wish I had the magic whatever, but... So we've been looking a lot inward in our profession over this past year, and I really wanted to talk with one of my colleagues, Vanessa Misciagna, who just left us here in Seattle to stay in the business. She's taking a job in another city. I wanted to see how she has been feeling with all that she's been through over this past year.
On the ground now.
You were right in the thick of it. I'm just wondering what that's done to change you.
It was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I think one of the burdens that a lot of journalists bear is that we want to help people, right? And with so much suffering and pain and emotion and distraught going on last year, you can't help everyone. Everyone was going through their own stuff that year, right? But I think we were just exposed to so much heaviness.
Capitol Hill. We want peace. We don't want to be killed.
It really took a toll on your soul. It was a lot.
I've been in those situations before where it feels like everyone around you hates you.
And we were like doing live shots, and there's this like militia group with like guns and ammo and just like, like their rifles, and they came up to us like this and was getting on our face about, you better get the F out of here. Why do you lie? Why do you do all these things? You're only hurting people. No one wants you here. And they were like getting their like guns in our faces. I literally just froze, and I was like, I could die right now. Like there's nothing stopping them from just like shooting me. It's also that feeling that I was like, if something goes wrong, there's no place to hide. Luckily, we were able to just leave, and we left. I constantly look over my shoulder. I had anxiety for my whole life. I've dealt with that. This year really put it into like the next level. If I hear like a loud car or something, a sudden noise, even today, I feel it in, like I tense up.
You're supposed to put on this cloak, right? Like, and it's not supposed to affect you.
Yeah, that's why I haven't really come out and like openly talked about it. But yeah, it was like I saw someone for PTSD this year. So
You did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It changes you.
Did you think about quitting the business?
Oh yeah. How do I find the balance of being able to do the job that I love while also being okay with feeling like I have a target on my back? So it's
Still worth it to you, though.
still worth it. Yeah.
Bring it in.
Aw.
What are some tips for people that may be feeling this burnout factor?
So burnout is very real this year. We get burned out when we're stressed, and we aren't able to come down from that stress. And that's been a huge issue this year. We're pushing through things that we've never navigated before. We really need the opportunity to bring our stress levels down, which is really hard in this environment. The number one thing I would recommend though to people is to sleep. We really need 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. And a lot of people only get 4 or 5 because they're trying to manage so many things. Also, you can do things to just quiet your mind. And not everybody wants to meditate. If you like to meditate, that's great. But even if you just go for a bike ride or a walk, or just do something to quiet your mind and bring your stress levels down. Because if you stay in that constant state of fight or flight, you're going to experience burnout. A lot of times people will tell me, I don't have a second more free time for myself. But really, if we make it a priority, we can always find 20 minutes a day for ourselves at the very least.
It just seems to go on and on and on.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we are collectively experiencing a trauma, whether you've been touched really personally by the loss of a loved one or a job or financial uncertainty, or if it's just being part of this experience that we're all going through, living in very uncertain times, observing the world around us, having traumatic experiences. It does take a toll, and sometimes people don't realize when they're not directly impacted that in fact it is having an impact on them.
No matter what you do in life, find time for yourself. I've got a link to that podcast and to Laura's website in the description. Also a link to Vanessa Misciagna's YouTube page. Take care of yourself and each other.